mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
How can one acquire emotional balance? Welcome to Make It Last podcast. I'm your host, Lennyr. It's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. And that's what we're going to be talking about, the whole idea of emotional balance, because of course that is a key component for us to have healthy relationships. And to have that conversation with me, I have Anna Lennyr. She is an antidepressant expert and a life strategist. Welcome, Anna.
Hey guys, nice to meet you.
Emotional balance, what is that?
Emotional balance is when you do not react into the world depending on the challenge you are faced with, right? So we all have specific challenges in life, right? We all go through specific problems, right? Maybe the computer is not working right now. Maybe, something happened, like a car accident, right? But we usually react to all these things. And as bigger the challenges, like a divorce or a child in depression, or, you lose your job, or the bigger the challenges, then the higher the reactivity level is, right? So what we are doing in emotional well-being, okay, in emotional balance, is understand why this happens. For example, I'll give you an example. People angry, right? You see people sometimes angry. Sometimes they are angry deep down inside, and they don't want to express that anger because you really don't want to show up that you're a messed up, angry person, right? But anger, it only means two things, okay? It only means two things. Okay, it only means it's two direction. It's your fuel of life on one side, but on the other side means that, can you fix this situation? And you have to answer yes or no. If you can fix it, you need to use that fuel of life instead of being angry to go fix it. If you cannot fix it, right, you need to use that to just let it go. Because otherwise, these negative emotions will eat you up from the inside in time, right? You're more and more and more angry. You're going to end up with heart attacks. You're going to end up with cholesterol problems. You're going to end up with headaches, right? Anger is not a joke, right? So it can be, I call it a fuel that you put in your car, right? If you don't put the fuel in your car and you put it all around the car, don't be surprised where you're on fire at some point. Okay, you put it in your car to drive you in a specific direction, right? Now, to do that, you need to overcome the game of blame and guilt, which sometimes we're conditioned to do since childhood, right?
Yes.
So it's always like, oh, I'm blaming this person and the other person is guilty. And, we need to not play this game. There is one person that you blame, there's one person that's guilty, and then there's one person that's always trying to help, right? So you need to end up with this insanity triangle of helper, blaming, guilty. All this, sometimes even shame comes up into it, right? You need to end this insanity circle, because otherwise you're not able to catch your anger before it comes up, right? And you're not able to use it as a fuel of life, but you use it to put yourself on fire. Okay.
You keep referring to some of these emotions as being negative. So anger, guilt, shame, guilt. Can we then find some level of positivity with those emotions, or is it that they're just always negative and then impacts on, how balanced our emotions are?
So anger, worry, and anxiety or fear, they're actually your superpowers if you know how to use them properly. These are not even negative emotions. They're actually superpowers, okay? In case of shame, guilt, blame, humiliation, betrayal, these have to be cleared out, these have to be let go with specific techniques and strategies, because those are the anchors that keep you at the bottom of the ocean and you can't rise. You really cannot rise and shine in your own true love, because guess what? It's too much that holds you back. And sometimes this comes from parents, sometimes it comes from partners, sometimes it comes from yourself, of believing that you're not good enough, right? But there are specific strategies and techniques to cut the anchor, okay? And once you cut it, you can go and swim. You don't drown yourself. You don't live in this, because this is the most exceptional things about these deep emotions. There will affect your relationships. They will affect your relationship. I guarantee you that they will affect your relationships. That's why there's so many divorces, and there's so many people angry, and there's so many people who, they don't understand how men think and women thinks and stuff like that. And the second thing that will affect will be your mindset. You will not be able to become what you want to become, to accomplish your goals, because these anchors of emotion keep you at the bottom of the ocean, right? So in my journey of overcoming depression, and in, with every single person out of 850 approximately that I worked with for the last 2 years with, right? We let the anchor go. And you will be surprised how, specifically the techniques and strategies, and it takes a couple of months, and you cut one, and then you cut another, and then you cut another, and then, another one resurfaces, and like, where is this coming from? Let's cut this one, right? So we are using specific strategies to cut these anchors that are holding us down sometimes for generations. And we think it's normal. We really think suffering is normal. For over 2,000 years, it all started with Jesus, since he was suffering, and we think we're like mini Jesus, and we all have to suffer. But this is exactly why we don't have to suffer, because he did, right? So this is what people don't understand. They're always trying to play the mini Jesus trap, is how I call it. There's 17 minds, keeps you in pain. And we're always like, I'm just going to suffer. I'm like, no, you cannot do that, because your child will end up depressed or suicidal, or your partner is going to end up leaving you, or, or they're just going to blame you for all the negative energy you have in your house, right? You have to do these things first for yourself and then for others, right? But if you don't value yourself enough to do these things for yourself, how do you expect others to ever value you? They would never do that.
Emotional balance. I'm sure that's probably a new concept, or maybe just a different way of different way of labeling it from what you've always known. But let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Let's just get a word from our partners.
Photography is an art, but more so, photography must come from the heart. Precious moments, priceless times. Take a pic and know it will turn out fine. For beautiful captures, email us at bmcphotographyja@gmail.com or call us at 876-350-7089. BMC Photography JA. Beautiful moments captured.
Are you struggling to become an effective communicator? Let Noreen Daly, the communications specialist, get you there. Services include communications consultancy, one-on-one coaching, public speaking and debate training, leadership and team building sessions, plus much more. Visit noreendaly.com for more info. Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
Are you looking for one-of-a-kind products customized to suit your needs? Then shop at Trending Things, the place where customization is always an option. From personalized gifts to apparel, accessories, drinkware, and home decor, you name it, we make it. Get your favorite designs on any item for party favors, weddings, graduations, or any special occasion, all at affordable prices. What are you waiting for? Visit our website at trendingthings.com to order your trendy item today. Trending Things, bringing creativity to the things you love.
So, the whole idea of a branding strategy sounded so exotic and so fancy to me. But After having several conversations with Neon, I now have a clearer understanding. I am sure of what my identity is, what it is that I want people to see Noreen Daly as. Thanks, Neon. Thanks, Splint.
Visit them at wearesplint.com.
Emotional balance and all this talk about negative emotions. Let's see what she will say next. What are some of these strategies then, to help to quell anger and some of these other emotions to ensure that we're emotionally balanced?
So it's okay to talk about all these strategies. Nevertheless, talk never solves anything. Okay, so we have psychologists and therapists and all kind of friends, and we're 7 billion people on this planet, and we're talking on Facebook and Instagram and every follow. Okay? We haven't solved these problems yet because talking doesn't really work. Practice does, right? So you first acknowledge the skill, then you practice it, then you master it, and you make it part of your life. And this is it. Then it's over. For example, I'll give you an example. In case of worry, a lot of people worry, okay? And that means that there is a disconnection between your heart and your mind. Your mind is going to a place and your heart wants something totally different.
Yes.
It's when we teach people to align themselves. What do you truly want? Well, I want this, but I can't have this because of him or her. It's like, no. If you are happy, everybody else is happy around you. Okay, it's game over. When you're happy, everybody's happy around you. No husband saw that his wife is happy. So, you should be upset today. Okay, if that happens, trust me, he has a lot of issues he needs to solve, right? So everybody is feeling drawn to happy people. You want to be around happy people.
Yes.
If you going to is like meet a friend that's depressed, like, oh God, I really don't want to see that friend. Goodness gracious, I'm gonna feel more depressed today than I ever felt, right? So we're drawn to people happy, right? So what we're teaching at that level, when worry happens and you worry about a million things, and you worry sometimes for 2 years or 20 years, you solve the opportunity to solve a problem. You lose all the choices too. You're just, you can't sleep, you have insomnia, all these things. Make a freaking decision. Make a decision and learn how to make it within 30 seconds. Why? Very simple. If it's the wrong decision, you have time to fix it in the next 2 years.
True.
If you worry yourself to death and you can't sleep for 2 years, you're going to end up in a car accident. You're going to end up with a stroke. You're going to end up with high blood pressure. You're going to end up with headaches. You're going to end up not be productive of work, right? So all of these things, you don't realize what a tool they have on you. Just make the decision, okay? Align yourself with what you truly want and make the decision. And man, make it right. Make it right. Because you still have a mind that can make it right, right? So all these strategies that we're teaching, but these are, we're teaching the first one at the apprenticeship level, right? That you learn the skill. Then you practice it. Then you become a master of it. And now I make decision within 10 seconds. I don't even need 30.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I realized I hadn't commented on it earlier. You mentioned how it is that a lot of people have this mindset. I think some people might call it a victim mentality, or the whole idea of suffering. How then, especially for somebody who's listening, who is a parent and can still help to change the trajectory of a child's life, what would be your tip for that parent?
So for me, it happened that, I almost died at the age of 38 and my child was 9-year-old and I was a single mom. So I ended up in the situation that I have to do this because I can't die. Sorry. Okay. Right. Depression took over my body. It collapsed a lot of organs, including the liver, including my back, including almost my pancreas. I was pre-diabetic, right? That happens after 2.5 years of not sleeping. I had a suicidal attempt at the age of 19. So all these things, right, overwhelmed on top of me, right, in a way that, I had to make that decision. You don't have to go through this kind of hardship to make a decision to leave the suffering go.
Okay.
Anybody can make the decision right now to learn more about what makes them happy, how to let all these, blame, guilt, all these deep emotions, how to learn the strategies, how to deal with anger, worry, anxiety, right? Everybody can, you don't have to die to be that close to death to make decisions, okay? Because that puts everybody else in the household in the same position. And this is, why a lot of kids are suicidal these days. 1 million people kill themselves every single year. They don't want to play this game of suffering. They don't want to play this game of survival. They want to live. People want to live. They want to feel happy at least 50% of their lifetime. Okay, they have to go to work, but they can go to work somewhere where they love it, when they can do something that they like, right? They do not want a hard life. And this is the mindset that we having, that life has to be hard. You see, if we would have been taught as a kids that life is easy, look, life is a game. You do this, you do that, you do the other, you would be like, oh, I love living. But now that life is hard, is like, I don't want to be here. I prefer to play video games, right? Guess what? Like, I have unlimited lives. If I die, it's not a problem. I'll just restart the game.
As we're wrapping up, Anna, what then would you if you could just condense it into a 3-step process in terms of how one can acquire emotional balance? What would that 3-step process be?
A 3-step process is first of all to know yourself. Well, that's the first thing we're teaching is a relationship course. So the first one is to know yourself. Second one is to know the other people around you, okay? To understand how they are suffering. They're not trying to hurt you on purpose. Hurt people. It's very simple, right?
Yes.
So for that, we have a specific course for these 2 steps called True Love Secrets, to understand the secrets of true love. That includes you, where you are in the equation, and where are the others. And then number 3 is, understanding that these they're negative emotions that can turn your superpowers, but they're also some healing of deep emotional wounds like blame, shame, guilt, being not enough, things like that. That once you have them, I'm sorry, you need to get rid of them, okay? Some people don't have them, so they don't have to get rid of them, and they're happy. But once you have these, you really need to let them go, because this doesn't help you in any shape or form.
Anna, you will definitely be back. Definitely. You will definitely be back. Definitely be back. Thank you so much for sharing. So much for sharing. You said a lot, and I have learned, and I'm sure my viewers and my listeners have learned also. This was Make It Last podcast. I'm your host, Lennyr Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.